The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. It is dated 22nd of September 2020. The subject is the emotional aspect of the Toroid in the constellation of Virgo. Me. One of the main characteristics of the sign of Virgo is order. Put the order, accommodate, everything in its place, having a certain coordination. What would it be then to have order on an emotional level? I am. Order is the ability to unite and connect different agents of isolated origin, making them coincide in the same timeline and space, to give them a functional harmony. Virgo, for the Northern Hemisphere, is a time of harvest. The constellation was positioned at its peak during the time when farmers and peasants had to start reaping what was sown. Thus, this constellation was given the shape of a woman who gathers wheat, who is Mother Earth, giving us her fruits to create the food that will keep the people alive during the dry or winter season. One of the fundamental tasks of women during the harvest was to separate the chaff from the wheat. That is, to ensure that the harvested grains, whatever they may be, could be stored in a practical way and ready to be used, without the rest of the dry plant. But, in turn, that straw would be used for other functions during the winter, so nothing was wasted, but rather it was managed in an orderly manner. Each part of the plant or animal that the farmer had produced was arranged according to its function, and this gave the connotation to this constellation that it brings us order and life for Mother Earth. Me. And Virgo? Why the concepts of virgin? I am. Virgo is virgin in Latin and comes from the Indo-European virg, which means work, and is indeed the origin of the English word to work. It was time to work the fields. To work, above all, as I said, the detailed task of separating the straw from the wheat, carried out by women, especially young women. It was believed that many of the tasks carried out in relation to freshly harvested food, such as fruits and milking, would be better carried out by women who had not yet had sexual relations, or who were not in periods of fertility, such as menstruation, since this could supposedly damage the food and render it unusable. This is why the purity of the workers of the harvested food were known as the virgins, that is, the virgins. Me. So it had nothing to do with the Christian story of the Virgin Mary, nor was it directly related to sexuality. I am. No. However, there was some sexual relationship in the subject. During the winter, nothing could be done outside, only work inside the house. The men went hunting and the women worked in the houses. To ensure the clan's survival, the time of the Virgo constellation was a good time for them to get pregnant. In this way, it was expected that the birth of the new members would arrive during the spring, a better time to give birth. At the same time that this allowed the women to repeat the harvest cycle by the month of September without problems. Me. Life seemed to be very calculated in relation to the field, to earth, with well-defined trades. Today we might think that this form of order is very macho. I am. It wasn't. That organization was called survival. When there were no supermarkets or agricultural producers, when everyone knew where the food came from because each one produced it, there was a different organization consciousness, in which jobs were divided and ordered in such a way that this could allow the transcendence of the family. Living in relation to the rhythms of nature is totally opposite of the life today. This is why many retrograde thinkers, that is, who think as in the past, compare saying that to return to the roots, one must live as before, where men and women occupied their places. But that doesn't work in an Aquarian context where ideas go above ground. Virgo, sign of Earth, implies taking into account every detail that constitutes the environment to build life, to maintain motherhood, to maintain the order and balance of things. At the time when, if you didn't work the land, you died, order was not imposed by man or woman, but by hunger. And hunger requires leaving art and ideology aside and being practical and concrete. You can be very liberal if you want, letting everyone do what they want. However, when there is hunger, if everyone leaves his place for an idea, death will be inevitable during the winter. Me. I understand. This is why Virgo is so difficult for us, because today we live in a society of idealisms, coming from Pisces on the way to Aquarius, in which we cannot conceive of living for survival, but rather of dreams and ideas. And this happens both outside and inside, right? I am. In the outside world, Virgo reminds us that Mother Earth has cycles, and that if you do not respect these cycles, she herself will take care of destroying what you do. But not from the attack, but showing you that you cannot go against the natural cycles of life. Respecting the cycles of time and space, paying attention to how the world moves, to the rhythms of life, does not mean going back to living as in ancient times and going back culturally, but knowing how to take advantage of the power of the environment, recognizing its potential, and instead of moving by ideologies, be based on biology. No idea is valid if it does not respect the laws of the world in which it lives. There lies the crisis of your current time, in which utopian ideas and dreams were projected beyond reality. They build in their minds a new paradise beyond religion and even faith, in which you have devised a civilization where everything is possible, forgetting that the earth has its times for everything. You have broken the balance of the earth, creating instability, disarming the logic of the time cycles of the moon and the sun, ceasing to live according to the solstices and equinoxes, and constructing unreal times with non-existent and totally impractical endings of years. You have renounced nature when you are nature. You cannot escape the lunar cycles, much less women, and men cannot escape the solar cycles. The constellations not only marked the astrology of the personality, but also the astronomy of daily life. Seasons, dry and wet times, winds, ocean currents, the cycles of births, the feminine and masculine qualities, they are all biological programming of order and natural harmony of Mother Earth. When ideas go against these rhythms, chaos, crisis, destruction is generated. Me. Because it's like saying that for there to be order, women should go back to living with the rhythm of the earth, and men too, creating the feeling that they couldn't do anything else or transform and occupy different places. I am. Your mind has adorned the facts with falsehoods. One of the great errors of ideology is that it precisely destroys any real argument for transformation, since the idea is a belief, and it will defend itself to the death. The earth is the one that evolves and always adapts to change, not the ideology, whatever it may be. Today you have political parties and cultures that continue to defend old-fashioned ideas, when the earth has already outgrown them. Me. How do you mean? I am. For example, the advice, it's winter, it's cold, put on a coat, makes you patriarchal. Me. I don't think so. I don't see the relationship. I am. Well, the same thing happens to me when you consider that respecting the cycles of nature is a limiting and patriarchal idea. The advice to wear a coat does not limit you to where you are going. It does not judge what you're going to do, where you are going to go, and what your intentions are. It only tells you in a pragmatic way, It is cold, and it is a reality, therefore the advice is to bundle up. Virgo reminds us as the mother who knows what's going on in the world and reminds you that no matter where you go or what you do, prepare well for the trip. Nature does not limit men or women. It only tells them that there are cycles and that going naked in winter or warm in summer is counterproductive. The concept of going against the natural order has been distorted by religious and cultural ideologies, destroying the word order. Today, this concept is identified with the military, with the repressive, with the patriarchal, the hierarchical, with the control of some over others. You have a very wrong idea of the concept of order. Me. What would be the real one? I am. The one I mentioned before. To unify by coherently connecting agents from different origins so that they are functional in a specific time and space. Neither the origin nor the nature, nor the objective of the agents is judged. The order only seeks that they be functional among themselves, harmonious, logical, and practical. Separating the straw from the wheat is realizing the attributes of each thing and ordering them so that they are functional. Religion took over this phrase to speak of evil and good, as if the wheat straw were bad or useless. However, order is not to separate or judge the use, but to recognize its capabilities and practicality. Just as today you live in an external chaos on a social level due to this misconception of what order means, you have also projected it towards the internal world with a very Aquarian phase. I do what I want. Me. What would that be? I am. That your inner world uses all the time to deny what you don't like, calling it the straw of the plant, and what you do like or dream of as the wheat and the fruit. You forget that the straw is what will nourish the soil for the next harvest. Speaking of emotions, the denial of low emotions and impulses, and the search to feel happy, to live on dreams and projections. Ideology has kept you from analyzing what you have inside. Therefore, the task of Virgo is to analyze, to recognize the potential of all that is within, that I deny, that I do not see, and what I have conceptually enhanced in myself. Think of your chakras as the grains of wheat, or the flowers of the sunflower, or the fruits of a tree, and the branches, straw, and leaves as what connects them to each other. You must search deep within yourself to be able to identify each of the functions of your inner being. Discover what you have denied for ideology or survival, and thus by seeing it, learn to manipulate it. When you understand what you are capable of doing, you will be able to nurture others who join you, your family and group, healing the ties you have created, which will allow you to feel more flexible and understand the cycles of energy that compose you, with which you can express incoherence from the pulse of your emotional being. Me. It is the process that we have done throughout the emotional week. Separate the chaff from the wheat, as Virgo does. I am. Everything we have analyzed in our emotional plane is just that. In this way, you can understand the natural potential within you, learn to take advantage of it, stop running away from it because of your ideas and expectations. The hard work of the field, of getting your hands dirty and meticulous, taking the hours of a systemic and repetitive task, such as writing, pointing, ordering concepts, is a fundamental process if you want to survive in the cold winter of the soul. You will have clarity of the food that you have harvested on your emotional and sentimental path. You will know how to use them and give them meaning. You will understand what it means to wrap up warm to go out during the winter, because no matter how much you believe in an eternal summer, the cold will end up freezing you and you will not get very far. Virgo is that mother who incessantly asks you the questions: where are you going? Did you grab the coat? Don't forget the document. Did you eat well? Did you do your homework? What grade did you get? Did you tidy your room? Did you wash the dishes? Me. We all know those phrases. We all have a mother. I am. There lies the true order. It is asking the question, finding the consequence and coherence between all the things you do, think, and feel. Free yourself from the preconception that you have of order and recognize that it is there to help you go further by understanding the context in which you will move and the tools that you will carry on your journey. Me. So what's the homework for today? I am. Do you live in order with yourself and with the environment that surrounds you? Write down those things in which you recognize that there is no order in your life. Identify them. Make them aware. Me. Done. It has been an intense week of emotions. I am. It is important to understand what you feed the actions of your life with. Without good fuel and food, you will not get anywhere. Analyzing is the key to bringing order to your life. Always ask yourself the right questions. What, why, and for what? Me. I am order and coherence.